and with great confidence in our caucus, I will not seek re-election to Democratic leadership in the next Congress. For me, the hours come for a new generation to lead the Democratic caucus that I so deeply respect.
Breaking now at 11, Speaker Nancy Pelosi will not seek re-election to a Democratic leadership role in the new Congress. We have team coverage on the historic announcement, the impact it could also have on the future of the party. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Laura Garcia.
And I'm Chris Sanchez. A reminder, you can also watch us live on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and online. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi today announced that after January, she will simply be Congresswoman Pelosi, giving up her leadership position and not seeking any new re-election.
Scott McGrew joins us now. It all comes as NBC projects that Republicans will take power in the House.
Yes, exactly. That's right. So Speaker Pelosi giving up the gavel really is built in. As of January, the Democrats will no longer control the House. A Republican will be Speaker. The big question today was, would Pelosi ask her party to elect her minority leader, or would she just become a rank-and-file member of Congress representing San Francisco? And we learned that answer this morning.
For those who sent me here, for the people of San Francisco, for entrusting me with the high honor of being their voice in Congress. In this continued work, I will strive to honor the call of the patron saint of our city, St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace.
There was a third possibility, of course. She could have just decided to go home to San Francisco and leave her district seat empty for a special election. But Congresswoman Pelosi, as we will soon call her, just won her re-election for that seat a week and a half ago, won it with 80% of the vote. As she announced she was stepping away from leadership, Pelosi reflected on decades in Congress.
When I entered leadership in 2002, there were 8 of us. Today, there are 17 members of the leadership. When I first came to the floor at 6 years old, never would I have thought that someday I would go from homemaker to House Speaker. In fact, I never...
Talking about women in Congress. Now, the man likely to take her place, Congressman Kevin McCarthy of Bakersfield, currently serves as the House Minority Leader. McCarthy was not in the chamber as Pelosi made her historic announcement. He has a tough road ahead. 2 reasons. Number one, there are a number of people in his party who don't actually support him. He has enough votes to win the speakership, but he's going to have to make several factions happy all at once, which could be very difficult. 2, he's not going to be able to accomplish much because the Republicans only control the House. The Senate is still in Democratic hands.
All right, but he will control committee assignments.
Yes, and those committees could get quite interesting. Republican congressional leadership just held a press conference maybe like an hour ago talking about committees that they're going to start. They said their #1 priority is investigating Hunter Biden.
I don't know if that's the #1 priority of the American people. Also, you know, we have the issue of Ukraine hanging over us.
Yeah, the Ukraine. So like I said, you know, the House can't accomplish anything without the Senate participating, right? The reverse is true as well. A number of Republicans have said they do not support Ukraine or funding Ukraine with American dollars in their fight trying to get Russia out of Ukraine. Marjorie Taylor Greene has said not another penny. So if the Senate still supports Ukraine, but the House does not, then that money would dry up.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Scott.
You bet.
Well, joining us now is NBC Bay Area political analyst Larry Gerston this morning. Larry, interesting timing as well. She waited until after the midterms to make this announcement. Talk a little bit about the timing of this decision.
Well, let's go back to the midterm announcement. She waited till the midterms just to make sure that the outcome would be as it is. A number of people had projected huge Republican gains, but as we got close, suddenly it looked like the Democrats might have a shot. Had they been successful in remaining as the majority, she may well have decided to stay or stick around. That's all conjecture, of course. But the fact is, she said no. And why she said no? Well, probably 3 reasons. One, she is in the minority now. No fun being the minority party. Number 2, her husband's death, or I shouldn't say death, illness, you know, from that terrible attack. And then there's the promise that she made, informal as it was, to some moderates 4 years ago that she would go another 4 years before stepping down. You put that all together, And the timing for her to do that came out today. And to that extent, there's no real surprise.
Well, we reported this morning on Today in the Bay that New York Congressman Hakeem Jeffries is getting pushed by other Democratic colleagues to take over a leadership role in the House. What do we know about those talks, if anything at all, and maybe his future following this announcement?
Well, first of all, Hakeem Jeffries is well known among his colleagues. He's part of the leadership. He's been in the House for 10 years. Great education, master's in public policy, a law degree from NYU. He's well equipped and well liked. Whether it's going to be automatic remains to be seen. It would be better for the Democrats if it were. That's assuming they all liked him. But every once in a while you get somebody, in this case, could be from the progressive side or even the moderate side, who might want to jump in as well. But for now, he is the favorite. And certainly well liked by Pelosi, by the way, although she did not say today that she wanted him to replace her.
So she was elected to Congress in 1987 and is the only woman to ever hold that position, Speaker of the House. So what does this say about her place in history?
I was thinking about this. She has been in Congress longer than a few of the members have been alive. That's how long she's been in Congress, those 35 years. You don't see that all the time, especially somebody who's vaulted into the leadership position she's had twice. Yes, she will go down in history for the job she did as Speaker, the first woman Speaker twice, as we said, who ushered in a number of laws along with the Senate. And in her case, she's had the Progressive Caucus, a very vibrant group of members who have always pushed for more, and she's had to tamp down their expectations to get the bills through. Remember, she's had a very small majority as well, 5 and 4 votes, depending upon the time of the year. That's small. And so her job, like kind of herding cats, she had to keep everybody together while not at the same time yielding too much to the other side. And she's done it masterfully.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Larry. So much to talk about, and we will continue to follow this breaking news story online at NBCBayArea.com, and we'll have much more coming up on NBC Bay Area News at 4:30.